Hey everybody, welcome to the Purple Aid Society, where we begin our discussion and our education on the tarot. Now, previously, as few of you who have been following my channel, it's not a big channel yet, but we'll get there, know that I had posted some videos as part of the series, but I decided to begin the series again because I wanted to transition more into more of a, how can I say it, stream of consciousness. The first 3 videos that I did on the subject, it was mainly reading. But I think that I want to do more of a conversation. Now, the beginning of this is going to be a little bit of reading based on some research that I put together and compiled about the origin of the tarot so that we can get a good perspective on it. And then we'll go into breaking down the cards, and that'll be basically stream of consciousness. At the end of this video, if you stay to the end, I'll be able to give you some information on my $7 a month mystery school, where you get, we'll go over it at the very end. We won't worry about that right now. Okay, so we begin with the ace cards in the tarot. This video or this audio is going to be about the ace cards. Okay, and so I want to first establish some context here, because a lot of times when people are not familiar with the tarot, or if they are coming from religious ideology, they have they're sort of off put by it because of whatever they have been told about it, or whatever kind of misnomers they've learned about it, and even because of some of the misunderstandings that sometimes other tarot readers, not that I'm judging other tarot readers, I'm not knocking anyone's process, but I do believe that one of the big problems with the misunderstanding of what the tarot is comes from tarot readers. There's a lot of hocus pocusry around it. And so that does not, that just doesn't resonate with what I know the tarot to be based on its inception, its history, how it evolved, and its most effective use. So a little bit of history on the tarot. Now, first, why even listen to me about it? I have been a tarot practitioner for about 13 years. And not only that, since 2020, I decided to make the transition more into tarot education, just because I love to, it's a great prompt to do the exploration of the mystery systems, the archetypes, the mythologies around the world, situationships that are common to the human journey, the soul's journey, the fool's journey. I just love analyzing symbols, and the tarot is a great prompt to allow us to do that. And you can get a whole lot of history and science out of the tarot in that way. So now the first thing we're going to do is go into some history of the tarot. Okay. So you got to understand, we have to go back as far as Egypt to get a good, solid understanding of it. And I'm going to try to keep it simplified so that it's easy to follow, easy to remember. It's not going to be too complicated at all. So one thing to know about Egypt is that Egypt ran 30 consecutive dynasties that lasted from the first dynasty, which began around 3100 BCE, through the last, which ended around 343 BCE, which the last native Egyptian rulers had power over Egypt before the Persian conquest. And one of those dynasties was ran by the Mamluks, and they rose to power in Egypt and Syria from about 1250 to 1517 CE. And the Mamluks were once, and I'm going to put, let me just say that I'm going to put in the description box, I'm going to link you to the sources of my information so that you can do, your own research as well. Okay. So I said that, they rose to power in Egypt and Syria, the Mamluks, from about 1250 to 1517 CE. And the Mamluks, they were once slaves of the Turkic, the Circassian, and other non-Arab people who converted to Islam, and they were trained up under Arabic military rule. And eventually the Mamluks were able to usurp power, and then they led a powerful military and political system throughout Egypt and Syria. Now, then we fast forward to the late 1400s, okay? Venetian and Genoese, I don't know how to pronounce that. Genoese merchants. They were doing trade in Egypt, and they introduced this leisurely card game to Spain and Italy, and the game was called mamluks, and it included military rules and archetypes that were like, they loosely resembled that of the Mamluk dynasty. It wasn't an exact, it wasn't a card that was meant to be an exact replica of the society or a symbolic replica of the society. It had themes of that within it, and it included 4 suits, royal court cards, and number systems of 1 to 10, which is very similar to today's playing cards, which are a contemporary watered down version of its ancestor. Now, around the 15th century, the triomphe, or dare I say, trump cards, now known as the major arcana cards, were added. And this was likely due to the fact that at the same time, Europe was experiencing its Renaissance period. And they were not a mystical addition, and they were not intended to be a divination tool. It's just that the Renaissance period of Europe was centered around art, philosophy, mathematics, cosmology, and the mystery systems. And then by then, the game had spread throughout the Mediterranean and through Spain, Italy, then into Paris. And that's where it took a big shift. And so in 1781, a man by the name of Antoine Court de Gebelin wrote 2 essays. One was called Egyptomania, and the other was called Le Monde Primitif. And though the Egyptian hieroglyphs at that time, they hadn't been decoded yet, he still was able to draw parallels between the tarot and the wisdom of Thoth. And so the earliest depictions of Thoth, or Tahuti, they were carved as pyramid text somewhere between 2400 to 2300 BCE. And stories of him were found throughout time, discuss not only they discuss not only the ancient advanced technologies and healing modalities, but he also cracked the story of the soul wide open, or the wisdom of the soul wide open. And a lot of those teachings and a lot of those stories and the wisdom of the stories have found their way under different names, under different pantheons, under different cultural perspectives of just about every modern religion today. A lot of those stories are found within these religious texts. They've just been sort of masked by cultural, political, whatever, migration, whatever. So Dr. Gebelin believed that the tarot was a surviving fragment of the Egyptian Book of Thoth, and that was a collection of Greco-Roman texts written between the 1st and the 2nd century CE. And so he saw parallels between characters of the major arcana and the specific hieroglyphs on the walls. And he also claimed that he received this esoteric transmission that the ancient Egyptians may have hidden the secrets of the mystery systems in the cards, right in plain sight. They may have hidden the mystery systems in cards and games, which would be hidden in plain sight. And so either way, the purpose of the tarot was never to predict future events or read anyone's minds. That's number one. That's the thing that I don't know that a lot of people understand. It was just a leisurely game. However, the historic mystery system symbols that are woven into the cards provide enough deep and sequential movement to help us examine our soul's journey. That's an added benefit of the cards. Okay? In other words, a tarot reading isn't really about any of the hocus pocusry of it all. Like I say at the beginning of my mystery school readings, I have a 4-part disclaimer. I say we're not reading anyone's minds. We're not predicting future events. We're not controlling or manipulating people or outcomes, and we're not conjuring up any energies or spirits. We're simply decoding the symbols and applying the lessons that they impart. Simple. It's just, that's as easy as I can put it. And so now that we have that in context, we then start with the aces. Now, another change to the game that took place in France was when the aces were promoted from the lowest card in the deck, or in the minor arcana, to the highest status in the minor arcana. And that was in large part due to, so after the end of the French Revolution, 1789, it was a symbol of the people rising above the king, right? And that's interesting. Never mind. So, but that tracks. as the ace cards appear to be bestowers of miracles. Okay, so some of the words to describe the aces are oneness, unity, wholeness, singularity, self-love, focus, and it also represents new beginnings. It also represents new beginnings. So now when you look at the cards, this whole thing about new beginnings and bestowers of miracles, that's very evident because in all of the ace cards, the ace of swords, the ace of wands, the ace of cups, and the ace of pentacles, they all are depicted as a divine angelic like hand extending that suit or that tool to the person. So it's like a miracle, something that is bestowed by another or some other force or some other opportunity or some kind of divine intervention or whatever. It just represents being bestowed with a new beginning based on some kind of miracle or shift that has happened on your behalf. And I always, when I teach about the cards, I like to, or how I'll be doing in this series at least, is I like to start with the aces because the aces deal with our mind. Okay, they deal with our thoughts. They deal with everything going on in the headspace. So our dreams, our visions, our ideas, our memories, the goals that we have in our head, overthinking, headaches as well because of mental stress or just tension in the mind, which can come from, not necessarily from the heart. That can come from how we eat, but it can also come from the stress that we have on us. Any psychic ability that one has, which is a natural evolutionary part of having a brain. All creatures, I believe, have that gift, but we've been taught to demonize that because we don't understand it, just like we demonize the tarot and we didn't understand it. But it's everything dealing with the mind. So the ace of swords, so a sword, think about what a sword does. It makes a decision. When a sword swings and it knocks the head off, that decision has been made. You can't come back from that. So it is a very decisive weapon, but it also is a tool that just represents the mind. Now, when you think about like swords in like ancient stories or even like the lightsaber in Star Wars, which is a crystalline sword that is able to project light. A lot of times you'll find that a certain sword, that sword doesn't animate for anyone. It only animates for the chosen one or the Christ figure of that story. Anime, has swords, or sometimes you'll see it, it's just whatever that weapon or that tool is. And so this card is really representing a new mental beginning. So new thoughts or new ideas, new visions, new information coming in. Maybe it's time to begin studying new things. It's all about just the newness of what's happening in your headspace. And as we bring this new idea or new vision or whatever the new thing is down, it becomes a part of our mind. We clarify it in the mind, and then we sort of decide on what our intentions will be around this idea. That then comes sort of in the wand. Now, you have your ace of wands, and this is the divine hand holding out a wand. And a wand is basically a stick, a tree branch. And it has the potential to bloom because sometimes, as in the ace of wands, you see a flower blooming out of it. So it deals with manifestation. Now, think about the Cinderella, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. When she met her fairy godmother pulled out her wand and she said, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. And the visions and the dreams that were brought down from Cinderella's mind, the field of pure potentiality, were then manifested into physical form. So it is the intention or the desire or the purpose or the fire or the motivation or the action or the discipline, the magic, the energy, the whatever, the ritual, whatever you do to make a thing happen. That is what the wand represents. It represents all of the energy and fire within needed to take something from the field of pure potentiality in mind and manifest it. And that wand is like the intercessor point, right? The nature element of wand. So let's go back up with the swords, Ace of Swords. The nature element is swords is air, because it is believed that thoughts sort of coalesce around us. They're not really in us. We don't really own them. We just sort of pick them up like a vibrational frequency. We sort of pick it up in the air. And the wand, the nature element is fire. And fire, just like lightning, both are sort of can be interchangeable to some degree. That fire, a lot of times when you see fire, it appears to come out of nowhere. We know that there's a friction that creates it, but it appears to come from just out of nowhere. Even if you look at lightning in the sky, I remember thinking one day, a couple of years ago, having a revelation that this is coming. It seems like it's coming out of nowhere, right? But if it's coming from somewhere, that means it's coming from some substance. So that we think as empty space is not really empty space. There's substance there, and because something can't come from nothing. You understand? So it's like the fire within your solar plexus, your energy, your power, your motivation, your whatever, your discipline, your consistency, whatever it is for you to bring something from your headspace and then create an intention on bringing it into the world. So it's a new beginning related to your intentions. Maybe there's new energy, new vibrancy. Now we know that we've just moved from Neptune and Saturn are both in Aries, I think, right now. All of that is providing, even given the chaos and unrest going on in the world, that cosmology still provides a good opportunity for some new beginnings and some new energy from us to bring some really strong new things into play. So it's about manifesting new things, new ideas into new goals and directions, but new activities to get there. So then we have our intentions, but we've got to couple that with our emotions, right? Because our emotions, so let's talk about it. The Ace of Cups is a divine hand that's holding out this cup or this chalice. The best way I can think to describe it for people who aren't familiar with a chalice, think of like those gold cups that kings and queens or Snoop Dogg and Bishop Don Magic Wand run around with. Those are called chalices. Those were wealthy cups, gold or brass, whatever they're made of, cups. And the nature element of cups is water, and you see it as this dove, victory, a white dove, symbol of victory, symbol of winning, a symbol of purity, of love, something wonderful happening. This dove is coming down with this coin, right? A resource, as we'll see in the next card. He's coming down with this coin and he's dunking it in the water, and in this cup, and all of this water is overflowing. So cups represents our flowing water, liquid, fluid, but that's dealing with our emotions. It's dealing with our feelings, an overflowing of wonderful feelings of having manifested wonderful things. And these two cards, this ace and this wands and this ace of cups coming together, because that's in the playing card. So going back up in the playing cards, the Ace of Swords would be the Ace of Spades. And the wands, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Wands is going to be the Ace of Clubs. The Ace of Cups is going to be the Ace of Hearts, and the Ace of Pentacles is going to be the Ace of, what is the last one? Ace of Pentacles is the Ace of whatever the last one is. I'm having a brain fart. The playing cards, Pentacles, diamonds. It's stupid. Diamonds, not stupid, but just brain fart. Okay. So now he's bringing this pentacle down, and it's filling this cup, and water now is overflowing. So I say heart and playing cards because that deals with our emotions and our feelings, and we feel emotions. A lot of that emotion we feel in the heart. We feel it throughout our body in the form of our nervous system, and we feel emotions through our nervous system throughout our body. It's like our subconscious speaking through our body, right? In the form of feelings and emotions. But that heart, it emits so much electromagnetic energy, and it can really direct energy and things into things. But this card is really a representation of some new beginning that's created really good feelings. There's a lot of overflowing of beautiful feelings. It could be a new relationship or a new, some reason to relax, like a new home or new vehicle, or getting into a new school and feeling proud of one's accomplishment. It could be a new beginning of self-love, whatever the new beginning is. Or it could be, just a lot of full emotions. It could be, for whatever reason, a relief, calm after a storm. But it's a free flowing. It's a comfort of emotions. It's being okay with that flowing of emotions. It's almost like a kind of an orgasmic card, in a sense, of that emotion being allowed by one's psyche to just be open and to feel. So it's a new emotional beginning. And that new emotional beginning partners well with that Ace of Cups partners well with the Ace of Wands, because when we take in a thought, our mind does a couple of things. We process it, keep it in the conscious mind and process it that way. Or if it's too much or too traumatic or too much is going on and we can't really focus on it, we store it in the subconscious. Okay? It goes in the subconscious, or whatever story we tell ourselves consciously about a thing. We say it enough, repeat it enough. It gets stored in the subconscious. When those thoughts get stored in the subconscious, they become our feelings. They become our beliefs. Those beliefs become our feelings. And the thing that fuels the manifestation, the movement of the wand, the bringing to life of the thing, is the emotion. It is there's a why that is deep and strong enough and powerful and potent enough that thing that one wants to manifest now is a must. So look at the wand as the purpose and the activity and the tool, the engine of getting one there, and look at the heart as like the fuel of getting one there, right? So then the last card that we have here is the Ace of Pentacles. And Pentacles is, in the playing cards, diamonds again. It deals with our physical reality, our earth. Now, pentacles are a coin, right? And the metal that makes coins is mined from the earth, just like diamonds are mined from the earth. So our physical reality, but there's also value associated with it, just like diamonds. Like there's like billion-dollar industries of exploitation going on just for people to access diamonds because of the perceived value of them. And the same for certain coins. So there's value in it. Now, when you look at a pentacle, what you're looking at is a coin with a 5-pointed star. And again, when you know the history of something, you don't have to be afraid of a thing. The 5-pointed star upright simply represents the 4 elements plus the 5th. Different cultures and religious or spiritual belief systems see the 5th as something different, but it's air, it's water, it's fire, and it's earth, just like our 4 suits here. And some people see the 5th as the ether or time, space, or time, depending on how you look at it. I sort of see it like it might be time. That's kind of what I'm thinking, or at least time, space. But that's all it represents. And it's engraved onto a coin, which is like a symbol of money. But the pentacles, a lot of people see pentacles as money, but I see pentacles as our physical resources because its nature element is earth. And anything that we can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear in this physical reality down here in 3rd dimensional earth realm is a resource to us. It's part of it's an asset to us. It's part of our wealth. I'm right now looking across the room at my little bookshelf because I believe all people need to have a little library. I just believe that. Get you a library. We don't know when certain books are going to be out of print, or we won't be prohibited to purchase certain books anymore given what's going on. But either way, get you a little library. But I'm looking at this library across from me, this little bookshelf of all my books. And those are resources to me because I can pick one of those books up and learn just about anything. My desk is a resource to me because I can sit at it and I can work. My bed is a resource because I can get good sleep. My dresser is a resource because it has all of my beauty products up there. my curtains are a resource because at night I want to block out light from, sometimes the moon comes across and I just like it like plain dark or whatever. My phone is a resource. Anything in the physical reality is a resource to us. Okay. So now the divine hand is holding out this pentacle, and below there is this path. And when you go, there's a archway, but it's not curved. It's like there's corners. It's like a rectangular archway. And behind it, when you go through that path, it's like going through a doorway, going between the two pillars, going into a different realm, going into a different dimension. Behind you see a pyramid, which is a clear representation of the mystery systems, the ancient technology, ancient science, ancient spirituality, advancement, going into different realms, because it is believed that the pyramids could be portals. They're communication systems. They're earth stabilizing systems. They're almost like, they're kind of like, Dr. Phil Valentine called it a biological computer one time. It's a sound activator. So if you're being given a resource of a pentacle, something in the earth realm, some kind of resource of value to you, and the circumstance that surrounds it is walking the path to the other side, it's really sort of, to me, a symbol of not only a new beginning in our resources, but a new beginning in our understanding of the resources, like our wisdom of the resources. It's not just the physical realm, because none of the cards only deal with its own suit. Because, like, for instance, if we're talking about a sword, something that you think in your mind, that's going to affect a card that has a heart on it as well, or it's going to affect the heart. It's going to affect the emotions as well. So it all kind of works together. But this card is a clear representation of when you walk that path. It's almost like saying that the path to the physical reality that one wants, and the physical resources that one wants, that comes, it's a carryover, a default blessing of going down the spiritual path, right? Going down that path. And vice versa, the path to that is the using the resources to help us get to that point. Whatever the resource is, if it's reading, or the resource that is our physical body, that's also a physical resource to us, because we are not our body. That is the tool. That's it's like our mind is the command center in a sense, and we've stepped into this body and it's controlled by the mind, but it's not really who we are. It's just like the vessel that we've manifested in. We've just have nerve connections that make it feel like it's real, who we really are, but it's not who we really are. In essence, the path of the Ace of Pentacles is understanding that it's really the above, so below type of thing. It's really understanding how the knowledge and the wisdom affects what's in the physical reality. In essence, bringing the wisdom or the energy down from the mind, down into the wands, into purpose, into action, into energy, and the magic, bringing that down into the emotions, and then bringing all of that down into the physical reality. It's really just understanding how they all work. That's why the pentacle has all of the suits on it. The pentacle is the culmination of all of the other suits manifested and reflected or projected into physical form. And that's a basic understanding of the Ace cards. I hope that was simplified enough and interesting enough, and like calming enough for, you to just kind of stop being so precious about it. Don't, like, there's nothing evil going on here. There's no hocus pocusry. This is just studying the world around us and the world within us. That's all it is. Now, like I promised, I would share some information about my mystery school that I do. I've recently changed the name of it, and I've changed the platform, but it's in essence the same thing I've been doing since 2020, which is basically a tarot education podcast. And every Sunday night, unless I am out of town one Sunday and I have to delay for one day. Sometimes that happens, or I'm really, really tired. I don't like to do readings if I'm in a very tired state. But outside of that, every Sunday you get an audio where we break down the cards. I pull from 4 different decks. It's a 10 card pull. And I do just like I did going over these aces. I break down the symbolism and I break down the historical references. And I go over the mystery science hidden within, the different aspects of the different mythology in the cards. And it's really it's such a fun reading. And that's actually that's how my readings went when I was doing personalized readings for people. And one thing to know is that most of my clients were repeat clients or referral clients. And I've done hundreds and hundreds of readings for people. And I got, for the most part, very great reviews. I think I've only gotten, in all of the readings I've ever done, I think I've only gotten one negative review. And it wasn't because the reading was negative. It was because she sort of withheld some information. So I wasn't able to kind of break a thing down for her the way I can help her. And I guess I should have asked better, I should have asked better questions myself, But other than that, my readings are really fun, and I really prefer doing the education side of it because we can have more of a free talk. It doesn't have to be geared towards a concern or a worry that another person has. But you can apply it to worries and concerns that you personally have while getting a great education. We also dive into examples that are found in reality TV, in film, in radio, pop culture, politics. We go through so much, and it's just like a great conversation. And the people seem to really love it, and I'm hoping that you will too. It's $7 a month. The audio, that very podcast audio, also includes a chapter of whatever the book club audio is that we're reading. We're on the very last chapter this upcoming Sunday of a book called 33 Steps to Reclaiming Your Power, Inner Power, 33 Steps to Proclaiming Your Inner Power, by Stuart Wilde. It's such a great book. We're on the very last chapter. And then the next book we're going to go into is, I decided we're going to go into how to win friends and influence people. I want, if we're going to dive into the mind and dive into spirit, we're going to do everything we can to just be better people. We're upgrading the personality, and we're doing the mystery school stuff that's going to help us do that. So if you're interested in that, click the link in my description box below, and you can tune into that. And again, it's only $7 a month. It's a lot of fun. And I'll talk to you the next time when we get back to the 2s in the tarot. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, check out my music playlist. I have a lot of music playlists and audio book playlists I'm developing. I want Purple 8 Society to be like a little 4D library, or 4D university, in other words. Where we can come together and learn the mysteries and study, and anytime you're down or anytime you don't have much to do, or if you're sick or you're driving long, you're traveling, there's always some great stuff that's going to be found in the Purple 8 Society playlist library for you to tap into and raise your frequency and expand your mind, become the best version of you. Remember the best version of you that you know that you already are. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys later. Bye.